Good evening, it's Captain Bill. This is the second run at this. It's happy second birthday to me. And by that I mean on Friday, January the 9th, was the 2 year anniversary of when I had my liver transplant. If not for that, I wouldn't be here doing this video. Um, if you don't believe in divine intervention, that's what this story is primarily about. Um, I was diagnosed in 2020 with liver cancer. Dr. Fung, my hepatologist, sent me to Dr. Jabari at Mount Sinai. Uh, Dr. Fung said I had a spot on my liver. Dr. Jabari didn't pull any punches. He said that, Bill, you have liver cancer. Surprisingly, I didn't get shocked or bent out of shape. Just accepted it. He said, what we're going to do is a liver ablation. It's only a day procedure. And I said, so you take this and you biopsy it? And nope, we can't biopsy it because it's a vascular tumor full of blood. And so we go in with this probe or microwave, whatever the heck the thing was, and we just burn it off. So I went in for the procedure. They do it in the CAT scan room so that they can see what's going on. And the first thing he said to the nurse was, give me the 6 centimeter needle. Well, it's like this. I did just about did the 1,500 out of there because that was scary. And then he had this other thing, and I said, that looks like a medieval torture device. He says, never mind, it's going to save you. So you're in there for about an hour, I think, from what I remember. And then he came into the recovery room and he said that he was going to prescribe Percocets. And I said, no, I'm allergic to those things. You're not giving me them. And went home and no problems. And that was spring of 2020. Then in late, probably fall of 2022, he's called. You have to go for CAT scans every 3 months. They found the tumor again. Going for another ablation. Same deal. Nope. To the Percocets, and home I went. Well, then, early 2023, they called again and said the tumor's back. You're coming in for another ablation. And after that, when he told me, he said, you need to tell Dr. Fung, the hepatologist, that you need to go on the liver transplant list. And I thought, well, who am I to tell Dr. Fung how to do his job? But I was good friends with his nurse, so I said to Sue when I was talking to her one day, his secretary, Dr. Jabari says I need to be on the transplant list. Well, lo and behold, within 3 days, Toronto General was on the phone. Get down here. They took out about 15 gallons of blood. Did a couple other tests. I don't really remember what those were. And then CAT scan, of course. And then I had to go for what they call a nuclear cardiology stress test. I take those as a challenge. I always ask what's a good number for a guy my age and condition, and make damn sure I get at least 30 seconds past that before I tell him, yep, time to quit. So went through all of that, and then Dr. Mamantha Bat, who is the head of the liver transplant clinic at Toronto General, kicked me off because I smoked. And I kind of, well, whatever, doesn't matter. And this is where the divine intervention kicks in. For some reason, the end of October, I decided to quit smoking. And I quit for November, but I left a pack of 18 smokes on the seat of the car. After a month, I thought, well, I can do like I did 40 years ago with what Dr. McKay told me. Take 2 drags, hang on for dear life, and then when you're ready to blow your brains out, take 2 more drags. So I did that, and then I moved from my trailer over to another spot for the winter, and across the street was a place in Midland that sold the cheapest smokes in town. So of course I went over and I bought another package. And managed to get them to last 5 days. That's it, dummy. No more smoking. So I turned into Peeping Tom. I'd be peeking out of my room window. I was at a motel looking to see if anybody was out there having a smoke, and if they were, I was out there mooching. So that got me down to 2 a day. December the 23rd, I got a phone or an email from the nurse at the transplant clinic asking how I was making out. And I'm like, well, do I lie and say I've completely quit, or do I tell the truth? And I thought, knowing Toronto General and all their ability to dig into things, I better tell the truth. So I told her I'm smoking 2 a day, maybe 3. And I got an email back, congratulations, you're back on the list. That was December the 23rd or 4th. January the 8th, my phone started ringing, and I got a message from somebody who wanted me to write them a letter, and ignored all of the above. At 5 o'clock, Pete, my ex-business partner, comes knocking on the door and says, are you feeling lucky? Not particularly, not living in this dump. He said, well, you need to call Toronto General. And I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. I gotta go down there again for another CAT scan or more blood work or something. And I called, and Mr. Thompson, we have a liver and you're the backup person. How fast can you get here? So I managed to get down there. It was funny, I couldn't get a ride. I don't know hardly anybody in Midland. Couldn't find anybody to give me a ride. A fella Garnet that used to come around the boat quite a bit. And anyway, talked to him into giving me a ride, and he wasn't too excited about it. And then Frank, who owned the restaurant next door to my office, called and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to get a ride to Toronto. Well, his wife was a nurse or a nurse's assistant or something. She knew a lady that did medical and airport transport. Called Kathy. Kathy said, I'll be right there. So it was 6 o'clock, and it's 2 hours to Toronto from Midland, but we had to take Ilsa up to where I have her boarded up in Victoria Harbour. So that meant we were going to be a little bit late. So poor Kathy was panicking, doing 140 on the 400. I got to the counter at 8:26. I practically grab you by the collar and drag you into a room, send you for an EKG, do an exam. When I did the exam, from quitting smoking, I was using the patch. So from here to my elbows, I was allergic to the glue. It was nothing but scabs and scars. And the gal that was a surgical fellow was kind of concerned. She called the dermatologist. The dermatologist said, look, she sent him pictures. Said, do you know what infection looks like? I'll send some cream. So at that point, it's about 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in this little room thinking I've spent this money to come down here all for naught. Doctor comes in, can't remember his name. I think he was tall and had dark hair. He says, Mr. Thompson, you're not the backup person. You're going in at 5 a.m. So 5 a.m. I get wheeled up there. Awesome anesthesiologist tells me that they're putting a regular IV in there and a great big one in case they got to dump something in a hurry. And they put 2 in your carotid artery. So, and then the last thing I remember, they put these, they're like leggings almost, one over each of your leg, and it massages your legs to keep the blood flowing while they're at it. So it started at 5 a.m. and I got out of there at 2:30 a.m. And I woke up and it was 4 o'clock. I figured it was 4 in the afternoon. According to 3 people I upset, it was 4 in the morning because I woke up. I don't remember it. I was pretty drug hazed. Calling people and telling them how I was fine. Of course, when on hydromorphone, you're fine. So that was that. They put you in a private room for a few days because they were worried about infection, and then eventually got moved into a ward. The following day, they come in with this great big steel walker, and they want you to get up and walk, and there was an old guy that was doing laps past my room every day, and I'm like, I'm gonna beat that guy. Well, I barely made it halfway around the first day. The second day, I got around 3/4 of the way, and by about the third or fourth day, no problem. The only drawback was from all this stuff they're giving you, you end up constipated, and that took about 5 days to clear up. I'm not gonna make you sick with the details of how that worked out, but anyway. So yeah, that was it. And then they allow you to get up and walk and this and that and go outside. And of course, the boy wonder. I went for a walk. I cut through Mount Sinai across University, went down the back streets, and there's Hasty Market. So what do? Buy a pack of smokes. So I was sneaking in and out of my room and having smokes while I was at the hospital. So I went in on the 8th and I got out on the 25th, and they sent me to a place called Hillcrest Reactivation Center. It's not a reactivation center, it's a warehouse for the near dead. This place was unbelievable. I'm in there. Well, it was funny. I wanted to walk out of Toronto General, and the ambulance guys wouldn't let me. They said I had to ride out on the stretcher and be strapped down. Well, we got there, and there was all this construction, and the only way to get in there was to walk in. So they finally gave in and let me walk into the joint. Not in there an hour. All these people are screaming, "She shit on the floor, she shit on the floor." Well, lo and behold, I decided I was going outside for a walk. I get to the elevator, just about gagged, and there's a poop standing up on end about 8 inches long. Some lady pooped on the floor. So when I came back, I was talking to the nurses. The girls there were fantastic, Lena and Sarah. And anyway, I said, "No, that poor old lady, she's got dementia. She thinks she's her dog." She was racing outside to go to the camp. But then they assign you a care team, and my care team nurse was a guy named Jeff Yarrington. Jeff and I got to be the best of friends. He's just an awesome guy. First time I go into his office, I'm sitting there, and it's not 45 seconds into it, and he says, "I'm going to stick a prick in you." I said, "The hell you are, because I don't play on that team." Jeff and I had a great relationship, and it was funny. I was flying to Alberta on April 1st, was a Tuesday, and I had an appointment Monday to go in. There was a blizzard and I didn't make it. Jeff works from home a lot. He'd actually made a point of coming in person to say goodbye to me. So I can't say enough about Jeff or about the care team, about how great Toronto General is. It's just unbelievable. So I'm going to end it on that, and I'm going to contemplate. I'll give you some more details, or if you have any questions. And I am going to talk about it in the next one in a little more detail about live liver transplants. The majority of people don't even realize that you can have a live liver transplant, and it's amazing. And I'm going to go into some detail with it. I'm going to see if I can't get Jeff to hop on with me, or somebody, and tell you about live liver transplants. But if you want to talk about divine intervention or a gift from above, I should have been in a box 18 months ago, and instead I'm here boring you. Thanks for watching. I am going to put a link in. If you find it in your heart, I'm going to put a link on at the end of this, or a post at the end of this, with the donation website for University Health Network, which is Toronto General. Toronto General is one of the top 5 transplant hospitals in the world. Dr. Bat is one of the world's top research scientists. When I didn't know I was coming to Calgary, I went on a study right before for a new type of Ozempic. She was doing a study on it, and the effects of diabetes on liver transplants. She does some fantastic research, very well known. She did a fellowship at the Mayo Clinic. Just a wonderful, wonderful doctor. The whole team at Toronto General, I can't say enough. And if any of you see fit to help with the research, I'm going to put the donation link on here. Thanks.